Riverside.
All right, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 3 of a show about football. I'm your host, Camden Mars, joined by your other host, Craig Jordan. And finally, we got a week of football, a real week of football, not week 0. We saw some Power 5 on Power 5 matchups. Got to see everybody in action. We got to learn some things about some squads. We learned absolutely nothing about some squads. And some squads are in the middle. I see some people exaggerating, ready to sound alarms for some teams. And some teams, some fans think that their team is going to win everything after 1 week of football, which is crazy to me to think one way or the other. So much can happen. The season is still very young. It's still a newborn. So that's my quick takeaway. Any quick thoughts real quick about week 1? You don't have to dive into teams or anything, but just, a nice little summary, nice little words to put together for the people. And I cannot hear you, sir. I think you will have to use the MacBook mic today.
Oh shit! No! I was on mute. First of all, I just want to thank y'all for all the listeners out there tuning in. Week 2, we here. We live from your mama house. Let's get into it. Team Dion, you feel me? Team Sanders, prime time, baby. Prime time has arrived. Do you hear me, Ken?
And yeah, I can hear you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I meant when I said some people think that their team is going to be in the playoffs after 1 week of football. So many things can happen. So many things can happen.
That's not my team. I mean, I do know that my team is going to be in the playoffs this year. There's no doubt about that. But
so many things can happen. Also, on other news, it is actually the first day of the NFL season. It is the first day of my fantasy football season. I think I got like 4 points, but it is what it is. Do you have anything to say about fantasy?
Yeah, shout out to Pat Mahomes, though. Shout out to the Lions kicking off week 1 of the NFL, season. And yeah, I'm excited, bro. I'm excited for another NFL season. Okay. Go Vikes, all that. Let's go.
I thought you were going to take that another way when I brought in fantasy because I listen, this is what I'll say. You know how in soccer, you're a soccer fan, they have a promotion and the demotion is up to the commissioner. It was out my hands, brother. It was out my hands.
We can talk after the show.
It was out my hands.
We can talk after the show.
But okay, to dive into while we're here, college football. The first game of week 1 was actually a week ago today. Nebraska and Minnesota. If you stayed awake for that entire game, I give you a round of applause. I stayed awake because I'm a Big Ten sicko, and I'm used to games like that. It was 13-10. Minnesota snuck away with a W that they didn't deserve, but also Nebraska still hasn't learned how to win. So that's typically what happens when you play Nebraska. You will be losing the game, or it'll be tied up 10-10 in this case, and they'll find a way to give you the dub. And that's what happened last Thursday when you had Anthony Grant, who had fumbling issues all through fall camp. Matt Rule said it in his summertime press conference, saying like, "Hey, this guy's had trouble fumbling the ball. He's our third string running back." So you had your third string running back with fumble-itis in the game, fourth quarter, crunch time, and you don't know what he did, Jordan? Take a wild guess what he did.
He fumbled the football, bro.
He fumbled the football. He fumbled the football, which allowed Minnesota to get back into the game and then eventually win the game. So, new coach, same stuff.
Yeah, it was just sloppy, honestly. It was kind of hard to watch. It was just sloppy. On top of that, I mean, Jeff Sims threw 3 picks. And, not only did he throw 3 picks, but he kind of threw, the game-sealing pick. And, I mean, had a feeling that Minnesota was going to throw the game, but also very confident that Nebraska was going to give Minnesota the game back. And that is exactly what they did. Shout out to Daniel Jackson. He balled out 9 receptions, game tying, touchdown in the fourth quarter. Yeah, bro. I was expecting a little bit more from this Nebraska squad, but at the same time, I am not surprised.
Yeah, and I don't want to harp on Matt Rule. I guess to be neutral, I can say it takes time to teach teams how not to lose. It takes time with that. Um, I know you probably don't agree, but it does take time to teach teams how not to lose at times. But I will say this about Jeff Sims and watching Nebraska play and how many times he ran the ball. I know he's a bigger guy, but at the same time, it's hard to stay healthy in the Big Ten if you're going to run the ball that much. But he also has a weakness of throwing the ball. So I crazily thought to myself, probably over exaggerating. If you're Nebraska, you might want to, put some more triple option or more option tendencies into your playbook because it's going to be hard for them to stretch the field. Their receivers did not impress me. They looked unathletic and slow. The one time that they did have a big play, it was a trick play that almost went really bad. It was a throwback to Jeff Sims. Jeff Sims dropped the ball, but luckily no one is around, so he's able to pick it up and throw it to the wide open receiver. So really, luck is what got them their one big play of the game through the air. So I do think them passing the ball throughout the year will be a struggle, especially in these Big Ten secondaries. So if I was him, I would lean more into that run game. If you're going to run Jeff Sims, just really, really commit to it. Triple option it up, like slow the game down. Do what you have to do to stay in these games going forward because offensively it's going to be a really big struggle. Their defense did look good, but also at the same time, Minnesota's running attack. Just looking at even at their main back, Sean Tyler, he didn't really have. He's different from Mo Ibrahim, but he still didn't look like a game breaker, someone that can really bust the game open. So I don't know if it was a product of Nebraska's defense being really good or just Minnesota's offense being bad, losing their best players, which we talked about a couple weeks ago. Either way, both these teams have work to do. Nebraska doesn't get a week off. They have to go play Colorado this weekend, which we can jump into Colorado right after this. And Minnesota has Eastern Michigan. And I think Big Ten playing MAC teams, especially mid-tier Big Ten teams playing MAC teams, it's always a sneaky good game, a close game. If they win by a lot, I'll be surprised, but I'm not banking on them winning by 20 to 30 points. I know the spread is pretty big, but at the same time, when you look at that Minnesota team, I don't see how they get explosive plays. So,
Yeah, but their defense, bro, they had 3 takeaways, bro. And I know that, Sims is not like, it's Jeff Sims we're talking about. But at the same time, I do think that Minnesota defense is pretty decent. Like, I think, they gave Nebraska problems all night, especially that secondary. Tyler Nubin, Trevon Jones, like, they balled out. Like, I think it's the defense that kept Minnesota in the games. And I think moving forward, it's probably going to be their defense that's going to keep them in games, bro.
All right, yeah. Quick note on that Minnesota secondary. To me, I know Tyler Nubin had the 2 picks, big plays. Justin Wiley, the corner, flashed the most to me. He looked like the best player on the field. Best player on the field to me at the corner position. So that's someone I think who can have a good season. But also, their defense will keep them in games. But at the end of the day, you still need to score. They may not. I'm not saying they're going to lose this weekend to Eastern Michigan, but I don't think it'll be a huge gap as far as like the points go.
Do you think Minnesota's having an Iowa problem right now? Or do you foresee them having an Iowa problem?
They're a work in progress. I won't say an Iowa problem because an Iowa problem is kind of schematic, offensive coordinator wise. It's just who they are. We've seen Minnesota be able to score points. They're not an explosive offense, but I've seen them play better than that. So I won't say there's an Iowa problem. They're breaking in a new quarterback, new running backs, a new center. So there's some new faces on that offense. So it takes time to work the kinks out and things like that. But no one's gonna say, oh, the Gophers are gonna lead the Big Ten in scoring. Like I don't think they'll be a top 5 offense in the conference. But I don't think it's an Iowa problem.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can get to what I know you want to get to. You want to get to Colorado. You want to get to that game last week against TCU. I have some bad news as far as like the Deion speech. I could not get that queued up because of copyright purposes. And when we upload this, I want it to stay on the internet.
Hey, yo, one day we'll sort it all out. But hey, yo, shout out to Dion. I'm not going to do what the media did this past weekend because, bro, like I swear to God, not even like 30 minutes after the Colorado game ended, bro, they were already running adverts for Nebraska, Colorado. You know what I'm saying? Already, quick with it. Very impressive. I was more impressive by, I was more impressed by the firepower. Like when Deion Sanders said that they were going to be really good at all the skill positions, like he was not lying. Like they are really good at all the skill positions, like really good. I don't even know where to start. Obviously, we got our Heisman Trophy candidate. Which one? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I think overall, like Colorado, Shadir Sanders, 500 plus pass yards. Travis Hunter, 2 picks, 100 plus reception yards. I can name off all the stats, but I think this was a really good showing for Dion in general, kind of just to give us a look at what they're going to be like moving forward. And I'm not going to crown them as like a playoff contender quite yet, but in a very crowded Pac-12 field, based on what we saw against TCU, I think that Colorado is going to give some teams some problems, especially if you get into a shootout with them. Like they've shown in week 1 that they can make the plays when it's time, and they have the skill positions too. You know what I'm saying? People are not talking about Dylan Jackson. You know what I'm saying?
Dylan Edwards.
Dylan
Edwards. Yeah.
I'm tripping.
And yeah,
Edit that out.
I was gonna go ahead.
Dylan Edwards. And people are not talking about him. 3 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? Over 100 receiving yards. Like, effective in all facets of the game. They're just loaded, bro. They're loaded.
And I was gonna say that I know, of course, Travis Hunter had a great game. Shadur Sanders played well. Jimmy Horn played well. Basically, all their skill guys played well. But who impressed me the most was Dylan Edwards as a true freshman. First game in college, and what he did, and also how he bounced back from his fumble. People forget that he also had a fumble in that game, and when he ran to the bench, Coach Prime said something to him, just words of encouragement, things like that, and he bounced back in a big way. He's someone I've known about for the past year or so, just following up, seeing who's coming up through the ranks. He was originally supposed to go to, I think he was a Kansas State lean. And then he committed to Notre Dame, and then decommitted from Notre Dame to go to Colorado with Coach Prime. But his speed, he has elite speed. He's not a big guy; he's small. But when you give him space in the open field, you're not gonna catch him. And in his first touchdown, as soon as I saw him have a little bit of green, I said, sitting down on my couch watching the game, I said, "Oh, he gone," just because that elite speed and what he has. I want to give a shout out to Sean Lewis. The offensive coordinator there, who was a former head coach at Kent State. He did a great job using his skill talent, using his weapons, getting the ball to the edges. In the beginning of the game, it was a lot of quick passes, a lot of quick game, doing that, and then also starting to take those downfield shots in the game, and also being committed to taking those downfield shots, because they weren't connecting on those shots in the beginning of the game. A lot of play callers would just say, "Oh, it's not our day to take these downfield shots." He stayed committed to it. He believed in his guys, and was able to connect on those downfield shots later on in the game. So like he had I would say terrific debut as an offensive coordinator. But he's been a great offensive mind. He had a great offense at Kent State, how he ran things, that tempo game, and they were committed to the tempo from the start of the game. Which shows their conditioning. I mean, well, Travis Hunter just showed their conditioning. The amount of snaps he played, over 100 snaps in that Texas heat, that's no joke. So, like I said, Dylan Edwards impressed me the most. Shadur had a nice, clean game, good game, accurate. Didn't put the ball in harm's way. He has a quick release. You could tell he has a good command. He has a good command of the offense, good command of the huddle. He's a leader. Get the ball out to his weapons and let them do the work, which is what you should do when you have a receiving cast like that. So, like I said, a lot on the offensive side of the ball, a lot to praise, a lot to talk about, a lot to be excited about. But at the same time,
they gave up 42 points, bro.
Yeah, that defense.
They gave up 42 points, and this TCU team wasn't that good, bro. I mean, TCU is very respectable. I'm not gonna just completely dookie on them. But
they're not.
They gave up 42 points. That's a lot of points. And honestly, this game could have gone either way. Like, let's be real.
Yeah,
Like, this game
yeah.
could have gone either way.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely could have gone either way. Like that, and that's what gives me pause to see how everyone is hopping on Colorado. I'm not saying they're going to be a bad team, but that defense did, like you said, and it's not like with all due respect to Chandler Morris, he's not Bo Nix, he's not Caleb Williams, he's not Dante Moore, UCLA, he's not Jaden Delaware, he's not Cam Ward, he's not the caliber of quarterback they're going to see in a few weeks when conference play starts.
Penix, none of them. Like, he's
No,
not.
Mike Penix, he's none of those guys. Like the Pac-12, the conference of quarterbacks right now is what the Pac-12 is. He's not those guys, and he led that TCU offense to. They could have won the game. To be honest, like listen, if Travis Hunter was not Travis Hunter on that interception play, if he throws that to the other side of the field with the other corner. Colorado loses this game because TCU gets that touchdown.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's something that gives me pause because at the end of the day, you have to defend. And in that conference with those quarterbacks and those offenses, you have to defend. You eventually have to stop somebody. We even say Cam Rising when he comes back from his injury.
And that's assuming Cam Rising is still Cam Rising. And, the Utah quarterback, Bryson Barnes, is not hot at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they're going to face a lot of guys that can sling the rock around. And, yeah, I don't think that Travis Hunter is going to be all that you need. You need more than Travis Hunter in the Pac-12. Against Nebraska this week, fine. They're going to do their thing against Nebraska, Cam. Like, let's be real.
I will say this too, and I don't want people to hear this and think, "Oh, he hating on Colorado." Like, listen to last week's pod, how I praised Travis Hunter before Travis Hunter went to go do what he did, and listen how I talk about Sean Lewis, the offensive coordinator. But coming into this Nebraska game, and what I think Nebraska is going to do, they're going to slow the game down. They're going to be physical because TCU is not a physical team. Like it was really like they couldn't have played a better Power 5 opponent for the first game. Where their styles kind of matched, tempo both sides, not the most physical type of teams. They're going to put the points up, not a lot of defense. Now they play Nebraska, and Nebraska has been kind of like the anti-Big Ten team for so long under Scott Frost. Matt Rule is trying to change that and make them a Big Ten team. And I think they'll play like a Big Ten team this weekend. They're going to slow that game down. Like I said, they're going to run that ball, then they're going to keep running it and keep running it and keep running it because Lord knows they can't pass. And then also now with the new clock rules, there were certain teams this past weekend that only got 2-3 drives in the entire first half because the game is getting slowed down. It's getting, they're running that ball. So if Nebraska can have success running the ball and keeping the ball out of Shedeur Sanders' hands, they have a chance to win. And I don't think that's entirely impossible based off the defensive performance we saw from Colorado this past weekend.
I can see that. I think the problem with Nebraska is Nebraska might be able to run the ball against Colorado, but Nebraska is not the kind of team that can afford to get down by 7 to 14 points early against a team like Colorado, because Colorado, very talented, but Colorado is also a big momentum team. So, they're up 14 points after the first quarter. It's a wrap for Nebraska. There's no coming back from that. They have all the momentum. They have all the swagger, everything like that. I think that's what separates the two. I think that in a game, in a full 60 minutes, Nebraska might be able to run the ball, but I think Colorado gets off to a too fast of a start for Nebraska.
So you think from the start they're just going to take off?
From the start. Home game. Big noon kickoff, they're riding the wave of last week. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. And I'm actually thinking, it's going to be, could be a high scoring game, but I think Colorado runs away with it.
Okay. That's fair. Like that's fair. And there's definitely a universe in the world where that happens. So you're not crazy for thinking that. And you know me, like, I don't rock with Nebraska. Like, they're not my people. Like, the best case scenario for me is for them to slow the game down and make it close so it's an interesting game for me to watch at 11 a.m. And then lose in heartbreaking fashion.
Mm. Now, Colorado's favored by 3. Do you think they cover, or do you think Nebraska covers?
I kind of want to save this for the end.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I could kind of, if we could just, we hit the spreads, clip it up. I'm just trying to think.
Okay. So I think Colorado showed us quite a bit. This is what I was looking for. I was like, let me see what Colorado's going to do. And thoroughly impressed. Like you said, up-tempo offense, the weapons at the skill positions. They're gonna give some problems to a lot of teams.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, they're going to be fun to watch this year, especially on offense. It's going to be fun to watch. Exciting to watch. Go ahead.
Well, one more thing. Also, so don't ask me how I stumbled across this, but I remember a while back watching clips of Shadir Sanders working out with Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
It shows, bro. It's shown.
Yeah. Tom Brady's one of his mentors. No, Shadir played a really good game.
It shows.
Yeah, and another thing, Colorado played fairly clean. One of the cleanest teams I saw penalty wise in the first week. First week's always sloppy, and they played fairly clean. So shout out to Coach Prime and the rest of his staff for getting his guys ready to play and not making mistakes. But speaking to disappointing teams that Colorado didn't disappoint, there were some teams that did disappoint. Baylor losing to Texas State. I did not watch that game. I saw it come across the timeline. But
shout out to TJ Finley. He went nuts.
An example of the transfer portal doing some good. TJ Finley was at LSU, then was at Auburn, now he's at Texas State, where it's his team. He's not looking over his shoulder, and he played a good game. And they went to Baylor and they got the win. What this means for Baylor, it could be a blip on the radar, or it could be, hey, this is going to be a long season in the Big 12.
Probably the latter. I mean, they go to Utah this week, bro. It's a wrap.
So Dave Arnetta, you might have your work cut out for you. Baylor is a program where it was revived by Matt Rule and was doing well. This is not a good look for them. I also want to talk about Power 5 teams playing Group of 5 teams on the road. You should not do that. You should never have a home and home if you're a Power 5 team with a Group of 5 team. Okay? If they want to play you, you pay them to come to you. You never go there. And this message is aimed to Texas Tech. What were you thinking playing a game in Wyoming? Why would you do that?
Why would you go, first of all, you going up to the altitude. I think I was watching that game, and they were like, it's like 7,000 feet. Like, come on. Already the disadvantage.
And it wasn't even it's a night game. When you go play these teams at night, at their home, you're the biggest opponent you're probably the biggest opponent in years that has come to play there. The environment is going to be crazy. They're going to be jacked up and juiced up. It is it's not there's not a win in this situation for you. Yes, if you win the game, you're supposed to win the game. Nobody cares. If you lose the game, not only did you lose, you flew out there and you lost. And it's this hostile momentum to start the season.
Wait. They didn't just lose, bro. They didn't just lose.
I mean, that game went to overtime, bro.
Bro, they blew a 17-point lead, bro.
Well, okay, so the Illinois game went off in the middle, while that game was going on. So I didn't see that part.
Yeah, no, they were up 17 points, bro, in the first half. They were gaming Wyoming, bro. Didn't even look like it was gonna be close, bro. I almost turned off the replay, bro. And then they just let them storm back, bro. That's the thing. If you're gonna do something like that, let's all take a lesson from Texas Tech. And that if you're gonna do something like that against a team like Wyoming, which Wyoming's had dudes go to the league the last few years.
But it's a decent Group of 5 team. But it's if you're Texas Tech, you should win that game.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're gonna do something like that, then you need to make sure you cut the throat off early. And you know what I'm saying? And I think they didn't do that. They didn't end the game early enough, and they let them hang in there.
That's the worst thing to do when you're playing against the underdog. And now they have to go play Oregon, Texas Tech,
Damn.
who
Well,
put up
Nick's-
what 81 points this past week.
Hey yo, we
Yo,
got
Portland State did not deserve that. Portland State is trying to get a couple dollars in their pocket. You know what I'm saying? They went up the road and got 81 put on them. That's fucked up.
We gotta talk about that. Hey yo, there's like I know there's like such thing as playing to the whistle, but like bro, we saw like 3 teams put up like 80 points, 70 points, bro. Three teams.
Listen. Condolences to Portland State. Kudos to Oregon. But Oregon is a team where we learned nothing about you guys because you guys played Portland State. So we'll see what happens this week against Texas Tech. I'm pretty sure they're eager to rebound from their loss to Wyoming. So I'm going to hope and pray that that's going to be a good game. And Texas Tech, gives Oregon a challenge because I didn't learn anything new about Bo Nix. I didn't learn anything new about Bucky Irvin. Same thing I knew last year. They're good football players. But I want this to go to Arkansas State and Oklahoma because Butch is my guy. And he did not deserve to be crying on the sideline this weekend. Like, that really hurt me. Because I like Butch. My man's knees were shaking the way Oklahoma did him. I know Oklahoma was upset about them having a mediocre season. But they ain't have to do Butch like that, bruh. I'm on a timeline, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking a little game break. I'm on a timeline. And I'm like, is that Butch? Is he crying?
Bro.
And you know Butch is a crier. He cried 30 times at Tennessee.
Bro, he did, bro. He cried after every big win, bro. After every big win, bro. Oh my God, yeah, bro. Nah, they did not deserve that, bro. They did not deserve that. Hey, yo, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Hold on. I don't care if I'm getting beat by 2 or if I'm getting beat by 30. Hey, yo, as a grown man, ain't nobody catching me on the sideline crying. Not during the game, bro. Maybe after the game, bro. But not during the game, bro. Bro, like they had him on the game break crying, bro.
I know. Listen. As someone that's cried on the football field, I'm not gonna say like you won't catch me crying. But like it just hurt me to see that because I like Butch, but he also isn't. He's not doing well at Arkansas State. So he's not doing well at Arkansas State. So he like this game. I hope he's able to rebound and get his team going. Oklahoma, another team where I'm not gonna learn anything from you beating Arkansas State like that. And that's a team I want to learn more about. They play SMU this weekend, so I'm excited to watch that because I do think that may be a high-scoring type of game.
Bro, why is Butch Jones always crying, bro? Like what?
He's an emotional guy and he loves the game.
I get that. But damn, bro, I feel like when we go back and if Butch Jones ever gets into the College Football Hall of Fame, bro, the whole highlight tape is just going to be...
But just not getting College Football Hall of Fame.
Okay. When we look back on this in like 20 years, bro, and if we were to make like a Butch Jones highlight tape, bro, like, bro, half the highlight tape is him crying.
He loves the game. It matters to him. You know what I'm saying? It matters to him. I mean, like, as a player, losing that bad, it's frustrating. It's definitely frustrating. Because you put in, like, in this, I don't want to go off on a tangent or a rant, but for personal experience, you put in work. Like all of these teams that you see, the good teams or the bad teams, mediocre teams, they all bust their ass, put in work all year round these days, round the clock, to get on that field and perform. They do. No, they do.
I'm sorry. To get their ass bust, bro. Like, that's so sad, bro.
They do. From the best team to the worst team. Everybody has spring ball. Everybody has them 5 a.m. workouts. Everybody has study tables. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's doing that. Like, everybody's going to get treatment. Everybody's getting recovery. Everybody's doing that. Like, that's just hard, bro. Like, that's just hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've made it my mission this season, especially since we podding now, to, you know what I'm saying, to let people know how hard college sports is. It's hard, bro. And the last thing they want to do is get their ass bust on national TV or on regional TV. That's the last thing they want to do. It's the last thing they want to do.
You're right, bro. Hold on. I'll give you a second, bro. Oh, shit. Yeah, you're right, bro. Like, I feel like, honestly, if I'm these small schools, bro, like, I'm fucking putting in my contract with these big schools. I'm like, yo, you can bust our ass, but you can't bust our ass by like more than 56 points. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, you can't put that. You can't put that.
I know,
in there.
but
And,
something, bro. Protect these small schools, bro.
and this is the thing. And but coaches, coaches, there's on a football team. I would say there are some players that when they go out and first off, nobody expects to lose. But you're also a realistic person. You know, okay, we might be overmatched this game. But there are some players on that team that really believe that they can win. So they don't want that in the contract, even though that will never happen. It's not legal. But they don't want that in the contract. Players really believe that they can win these games, even when they're overmatched.
That's fair. That's fair.
They really think that because every high school football player that turns into a college football player always believes that they should be playing at a higher level than they're at. So if you're at Arkansas State, you play Oklahoma, you think that you should be at Oklahoma playing. So you want to go in that field and show them that you can play at Oklahoma. Don't say nothing smart. But that's just what they think.
Fair enough, bro.
Listen.
I totally,
2011,
I totally understand what you're saying, bro.
2011, I was getting recruited by Kent State. John Heacock was the cornerback coach. And we were having a phone call. They were prepping for their week 1 game, getting ready for that. Fall camp was going, things like that. And they played Alabama. Now, I knew that they weren't going to beat Alabama. But he was telling me about how they're so excited, the prep they've been doing, getting the guys ready, the teams ready to go in there and shock the world. He told me to watch and do things like that. That man really thought that they could beat Alabama. Well, maybe he didn't, and he just made me believe that. But that's what makes a good coach. You know what I'm saying? But the players on that team thought they could beat Alabama. I was like, they probably not going to beat Alabama. You know what I'm saying?
Not probably, bro. Not probably, bro. Not probably. But I get what you're saying. And, like, honestly, like, it does give small schools an opportunity, especially financially, that they might not be able to get, like, within their own conferences. You know what I'm saying? So it works. But I'm just saying, like, bro, Ole Miss put up 73 points against Mercer, bro. Like, 73 points, bro.
Yeah, come on now. Like, yeah.
Yeah, like 73 points, bro. Like, come on, bro. But, hey, yo, play to the whistle. You know what I'm saying? There are no moral victories in football. You know, the score is the score. And, yeah, it is what it is.
We're talking about football. Sometimes you're going to get your head beat in. Sometimes it's going to happen.
That's facts, bro. That's facts.
And I think that's a perfect segue to a team that got their head beat in this past weekend.
You talking about which ACC team?
I'm talking about Louisiana State University.
Okay, yeah. I told you, bro. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be that guy, but I told you, bro. I said on the last pod, I said, bro, the game last year shouldn't have even been that close last year. Mm-hmm. And they showed us this year.
No, you did say that. I was in the middle of like doing Labor Day stuff. When that game came on, it was a Sunday, but I was busy. And when I finally got to it, the first half was competitive. I think LSU was in the lead, 17-14, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. But I will say that something I did notice. In the first quarter, Florida State had a couple of personal fouls, late hits, flags on them, right? And so I saw that like this when I was watching the replay. And I was like, okay, that started then early. They hitting them after the whistle, knocking them out, boom, boom. And if you look at the end of the game, Florida State, when they're finishing the game, the last touchdown they had, Jaheim Bell ran over a corner in the end zone. There were a couple other blocks and things like that where LSU players are getting ran over. That physicalness, that physicality, that that domination, like that basically instilling fear, like you know what I'm saying, like basically just doing whatever they wanted. That started in the first quarter with those late hits. I don't condone the late hits and things like that, but they set the tone for the beginning of the game. Like we're tougher than y'all, we're more physical, and we're gonna do this all day. And that really showed in the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, it really, like, the skill gap was, not the skill gap, sorry. The gap was definitely there in the second half. LSU just looked kind of winded in the second half, to be honest with you, and it showed. They made a lot of mistakes. I think they turned the ball over, or I think they went over on downs on 3 straight drives in the second half. And then Florida State, on the flip side, scores on all 5 of their drives in the second half, basically. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that Florida State offense just looked like it was firing on all cylinders. Keon Coleman was a great addition. Great addition. I'm thinking Johnny Wilson's going to have the game of his life. No, Keon Coleman balled out. Johnny Wilson balled out too, but Keon Coleman balled out in his first game as a Seminole. And yeah.
Yeah, that's a Keon Coleman I know. Like, I saw him shit all over Michigan. Michigan State lost, but Keon Coleman had a hell of a game. That's just who he is. A big receiver, can go up and get it. Physical. He's a perfect compliment to Johnny Wilson. I feel so weird saying that. The perfect compliment to Johnny Wilson. They're both big. Johnny Wilson 6'7", so that's just like a different beast. But Keon Coleman 6'4", 220. Jordan Travis, like I said, every time, I think I said this last week, every time I watch Jordan Travis, I'm impressed. I'm like, yo, that's a good quarterback. Like I don't know what his NFL prospects is, but that's a damn good college quarterback.
I agree.
Like, and you won't have to worry about it. You won't have to worry about that. But I do want to bring something up because on the phone you said, hey, Brian Kelly, this is what happens to LSU when they have all these transfers. Basically, all of Florida State weapons are transfers.
Yeah, but there was still some continuity there.
There's continuity with LSU as well.
That's fair. I think what I was looking at was more like the core returning guys for Florida State. I think they had a lot more core returning guys outside of like Keon Coleman that like transferred in. And I feel like LSU, my question was more or less their defense, bro. Like, I wasn't questioning the offense. Like, the offense, I think they had a bunch of guys coming back. But I know their defense had a lot of holes that they filled in through the transfer portal again this year. So that was my big question. And it kind of showed. You know what I'm saying? It kind of showed.
Where does Brian Kelly go from here?
That's a great question. It depends on what Alabama does next week or this week, I think. Because I think this might be a crazy hot take, but I think, let's say, Alabama loses to Texas this week. I think Brian Kelly still has a potential shot at taking the SEC West. I think if Bama comes out this week and let's say they were to beat Texas or let's say even dominate Texas, it's going to be a long season for Brian Kelly. You know what I'm saying? I think usually I feel like, yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
Interesting.
Really depends on Bama. I think Brian Kelly's still going to have a good season though.
Yeah, like I said, their season isn't over. Like we said last week, we said whoever loses this game, all your goals are still intact. You can still make the playoff if you win out. You can still win your conference. So every goal that you set, besides going undefeated, is still on the table. So for our listeners down in Baton Rouge or LSU fans throughout the country, all hope is not lost. You can still do special things. You just have to turn it around, get more physical, clean some stuff up. And as of today, this can change this weekend. As of today, you can still be in the playoff. So going from ACC team to, well, FSU's in the ACC, but going from one disappointing team to another, I do want to talk about Dabo and them. Because I watched the replay, so I didn't see the game live. I watched the replay, and so this is what I'll say: a lack of focus, lack of execution is what lost Clemson the game. Clemson should have won that game. Clemson had opportunities to win that game if they took care of the football and executed and focused. They fumbled multiple times at the goal line. They had blocked field goals.
Not multiple times in a row. In a row. Like there was 2 drives in a row. They fumbled at the goal line, bro. But sorry, go ahead.
So, because this is the thing, like Clemson, they got chunk yardage. You know, they were moving the ball. When it counted, when it was time to punch it in and do what good teams do, they could not do that for whatever reason. Whether it's like you said, those fumbles, whether it's blocked field goals, you know, like whatever it was, they were not able to do that. And they literally cost themselves 20 points in that game. It probably even more. But off the top of my head, 20 points they cost themselves by not taking care of the ball. It wasn't anything that Duke did. Clemson beat themselves.
Yeah, I personally, gone are the days where Clemson can just out athletic everyone in the ACC. I think the ACC is becoming a better conference. I think you're seeing that with the emergence last year of like Wake Forest, North Carolina State, Notre Dame, Louisville's coming. You know what I'm saying? Miami could potentially be coming. Yeah, gone are the days when they can just dominate, and I think that's kind of what they were trying to do in this game. They were trying to be more dominant than they were trying to be smart. And that cost them, ultimately. That cost them. Like, you're playing a smart Duke team, an improved Duke team, that had, like, one of the best seasons that they've had in their history last year. And, yeah, it was poor coaching, bro. Poor coaching. Or poor preparation. I don't know. It just looked all bad. All around.
They weren't prepared. Execution, the focus wasn't there. They weren't prepared to win that game. Like I said, they like. I feel like if you play that game, if you play this game 10 times, Clemson may win that game 6 times. They might win 6 times. It's like not to beat a dead horse, but they should have won that game. Like if you watch that game, you would say Clemson should have won this game. But because of the mistakes that they made, they lost themselves the game. Dabo Swinney called it one of the wackiest games he's seen. It was a wacky game. I won't argue that. It was a wacky game. Like, Duke won the game because they just made less mistakes. I mean, it wasn't like, yeah, I mean, and they weren't, it's not like I was like, oh my God, this Duke team is great. Like, I didn't think that watching that. They got some big plays, some chunk plays, and they capitalized the way Clemson didn't. And that's what it came down to. And I think this has set them behind the 8 ball with what they want to do. I would imagine they want to get back to the playoff. They want to get back to the championship. They want to get back to where they were. The issue is that they don't have those receivers they had in the past. They don't have those guys. They don't have the quarterback they had in the past. K. Klubnik, he can run, but he looked really small as far as like weight wise. He looked really small out there on the field. What else? Dabo, this is where when I think of Dabo, one of his weaknesses is that he still refuses to really use the transfer portal. Like his roster doesn't have to be this way. He made this choice. And this is what happens when in this portal world where teams, instead of having to rebuild from freshmen and younger players, they just go supplement their roster. And you're Clemson, you're missing out where they could have gotten elite players in the portal. You know, like who wouldn't want to go to Clemson? Like his pride and his beliefs is hurting him. Is hurting his legacy, his team. Like they don't have to be like this right now. They don't have to struggle. There's no reason why Clemson doesn't have a top tier quarterback. There's no reason why that isn't that. He just refuses to go to the portal. Like Sam Hartman didn't have to go to Notre Dame. Sam Hartman could have went from Wake Forest, North Carolina to Clemson, South Carolina. But Dabo doesn't want to use the portal. Receivers throughout the country that transfer to other places, they could be at Clemson right now. And I know I'm going off on a rant, but this is where some college coaches die, where they don't adapt. You have to adapt. This game is ever changing. The minute that you don't adapt, that's the minute you fall off. And that's what we're saying. This is what we're saying happen right now with Clemson, because their roster, like you said, they're not just showing up and being more athletic than somebody. They're not just showing up and overpowering somebody. Because Dabo has allowed the roster to fall off because he's not playing the game. The game is NIL and portal. That's the game. That's the game. You have a weak spot. Your freshman hasn't developed. You go to the portal.
Yeah. Also, I'll say this. Those years that Clemson won those championships, they won them fair and square, outright. Probably, maybe some of the best college football teams that we've seen in that decade. But I also like to take it back to a time which wasn't really that far. They weren't that far removed from Clemsoning. And I think what happened with Clemson, or what's happening with Clemson now, is very apparent, is that all the schools around them are getting stronger. And you're right, their failure to adapt is what's not only costing them, good players, but it's costing them games. Because now, when Clemson was good, they competed against Bama. That was their main competition, right? Bama and Clemson dominated the South for a few years there. But now, you've got Georgia, you've got Tennessee, now you got North Carolina coming and calling. You got Florida State that's probably going to win the conference this year, it's looking like. You know what I'm saying? And now, on top of that, you got Texas and Oklahoma, who, although they are geographically not close to Clemson, they're still coming into the sphere geographically, and now you're going to have to compete with them in terms of recruiting as well. And so, I think Dabo's got to adapt because, these top players aren't going to go to Clemson. Why? Because Clemson is not going to give them the perks that a Georgia or even a Florida might. You know what I'm saying? Clemson's not giving them that. Clemson stuck in 2016. And that was a hella good year for Clemson. Really good year. But,
Now I'll say this. All due respect to Duke, but there's no way Duke should beat y'all like that. There's no way Duke should beat Clemson like that.
I think if it would have been a scrappy game, if it was a 7-point win, fine. But I was thrown off by the 28-7 scoreline.
There's mistakes or not, there's no way that Duke should beat them like that. And like you said, it just comes down to roster. Sometimes it's about excuse me. Sometimes it's about do you have the Jimmies and the Joes? Sometimes that's what it comes down to. When Clemson right now, they don't. Even when you talk about back when they were Clemson, Taj Boyd, hell of a player. DeAndre Hopkins, hell of a player. Sammy Watkins, hell of a player. Where do you see those guys at right now when you watch Clemson play?
Nowhere. Mm-hmm.
So
also Taj Boyd. For what it's worth, I love Taj Boyd. I was a big Taj Boyd fan, but he's a little bit overrated.
But if they could use the Taj Boyd right now.
They really could. They really could. They really could. So I'm just at the point where I'm starting to wonder if Clemson was lightning in a bottle.
If Clemson becomes lightning in a bottle, it's because of Dabo and how he wants to run his program. Let
me ask you this: if you're Clemson, at what point do you start thinking about pulling the plug?
I mean, you give him a leash because he's still fucking around, go 10-2 this year.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So where it's one of those things when you've been elite, when you're an elite program, you're held to different standards. So them losing this game is and they still may end up in the ACC championship game.
Okay.
So, I want to see this season play out. I would say though, if I am the AD, I would say, hey, Dabo, listen, we love what you've done. You've given us championships. You've given us some of the greatest players in our school's history. But hey, man, the portal there for a reason. We gotta, some spots we need to use the portal. We need to bring some talent in. So that's my thought on that.
especially now that they about to be in California, bro. Like, it ain't no reason why Dabo shouldn't be able to go pluck a quarterback out of California from Mater Dei or something like that.
I mean, he's done it. He had one. Ukulele, who had a hell of a game last week.
He did. He did. Yeah.
St. John Bosco.
Shows that he wasn't the problem, right? He was not the problem.
I mean, but to stay in the ACC, I want to talk about North Carolina, South Carolina. I want to thoughts and prayers to Spencer Rattler because what happened to him was just not right. That was just not right. It was 9-10 sacks. That was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was ridiculous. My man's was seeing ghost in the fourth quarter, which I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
Mm-hmm.
I do not blame him.
Hey, yo, the game was not as close as the score indicated.
Yeah, no, North Carolina was physical, man. Physical.
From the start, bro. From the start. Like, from the start. It wasn't even close.
Physical. And, like, when it's a game like that as a quarterback, even like just when you're getting hit like that, you start to anticipate the hits. Like, you really do. You start to anticipate those hits. And you think something's coming when it's really not because like that's what they've been harassing you the entire game. And he just never had a chance. But I will say this: Xavier Legette, the receiver at South Carolina, he was the best player on the field.
He went crazy.
He was the best player on the field.
Think he was the top leader in receiving yards this week in the NCAA?
I wouldn't be surprised. Every time I looked up, he was catching the ball.
Yeah, he had like 178 some yards, bro. Like, it was crazy.
And so what did you think about Mac and them, North Carolina, Drake May? That's your guy. That's your guy.
Oh man, it's looking spooky in the ACC this year, bro. It's kind of Drake looked good, but also, like, you can't help but think of Florida State looked good as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think Mac looked good, but I just wonder what they can do against the top tier of the conference because that's really, that's where the bread and butter is going to be at this year. Can they win those big games?
I thought Drake May played all right. It wasn't anything breathtaking. Like, it's not wasn't his best performance to me. I'm interested to see, like, just because I don't watch a lot of South Carolina, like, I don't know, like, is their O-line just bad or is North Carolina's D-line, like, that good? Is, like, Gene Chizik that good of a defense coordinator? Like, I don't know. Like, it'll be interesting to see. And also be interesting to see them play. They play the Gophers the week after next. Not this week, but next week. But it'll be, like, so I'm interested to see that because I do think if their defense bottles this up, how they played against South Carolina, and can play like that for the rest of the year, they may not lose another game.
It might be problems,
like if their defense plays like that and can harass quarterbacks like that, they literally, like, when you have a quarterback like Drake May, all you have to, like, if they can hold opposing offenses to 24 points a game, they'll win. They'll win every game.
Mm-hmm. I agree, bro. Like, yeah, that's what makes them scary, per se, I think, is that I'm like, yo, my biggest question is this a one-game performance for this defense, or is this what we're going to see from the whole season? So I don't want to call it quite yet, but North Carolina is definitely going to compete for one of those top two spots in the ACC because, there's no divisions this year, so it's really, truly just the top two teams in the ACC. So if they work their schedule right and they could easily slide into that top spot or that second spot.
No, I won't be surprised.
Now, the question really becomes, because I think that a lot of these ACC schools are vying for more than just an ACC championship. So the question becomes, like, what would it take for the ACC to get into the playoff this year? I guess only time will tell,
I mean, if Florida State wins every game, they're in the playoff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so yeah, it's all about starting high. Like, Florida State starting high, they're ranked high. They just ride that momentum, they'll be in the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that. Yeah, I really think it's as simple as that. It's not like they're Oh, they started. Like, it's different if you start the season at like 18 or 19, ranked 18th, 19th. It's kind of hard to get into that top four. Or if you start ranked in the 20th, it's kind of hard to get into that top four. But with Florida State starting, they'll be okay.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's the way I see it. Do you want to? Oh, real quick. Thoughts and prayers to Boston College for losing to Northern Illinois this past weekend. And also,
it was a lot of ass performances from some big schools this week.
Yeah, I would say, so Sunday morning I woke up at about 9:30 a.m., ate some breakfast, turned on my television at around 10:55, and was there for the kickoff of the Rutgers Northwestern game. Oh my gosh. Northwestern is worse than I thought they were. Like, they're really bad, bro. Like, they're really, really bad. They might be like the bad news Bears of FBS football. Like, I don't think there's a worse team in the Power 5 than them. Like, I'm going to be honest.
Bro, Northwestern made Rutgers look like
world beaters.
Yeah, look like Big Ten East contenders.
They're really bad, bro. They're really, really bad.
And I think I looked at the odds, bro. And I think they're playing someone like UTEP this weekend, bro. And I think they're favored to lose that game by like 7 points. I'm pretty sure.
I thought they were like a 3-point favorite. I don't know.
Hold on. I'll pull it up.
But they are playing UTEP. That's a sicko game. I'm gonna watch that.
That's a sicko game. Okay. Hold on. Continue. I'll look this up.
Yeah, no, I call myself a college football sicko because like some games I find myself watching, I'm just like, yo, what's wrong with me? Like I will watch Middle Tennessee versus Arkansas State.
Yeah, that's kind of sick, bro.
I'll sit there and watch that. Like, and I was excited to watch Rutgers play Northwestern. Like, I was looking forward to. Like I said last week, I was looking forward to it.
I know you.
Like, I was looking forward to it. Like I will watch Buffalo play Akron.
Like when
in a MAC conference game.
When you brought that up, bro, I was not surprised, bro. I was like, you would totally watch like Northwestern, Rutgers, and be tapped in from the beginning.
Yo, I was tapped in
from the jump.
I was tapped in. Go ahead.
DraftKings got Northwestern favored to lose by 3 or by 2.
So they're underdogs.
Mm-hmm. They're the underdogs, yeah. Which, let's be real, probably gonna be underdogs for the rest of eternity.
Oh yeah. They're gonna be like the rest of this year. They're definitely underdogs, bro. Like, there's no way they're like.
No, eternity. Not this year. Eternity, bro.
I mean, bro. Like,
I'm kidding.
Once they get a coach,
mm-hmm.
and I feel bad for like their intern coach because he didn't sign up for this. Like when David Braun thought that he was moving from NDSU to Evanston and Northwestern to be a defensive coordinator under Pat Fitzgerald. My man's was there for 6 months. The next thing he knew, he was an interim head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was set up for failure from the start. Like, and if you're at Northwest, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, they're just gonna be lethargic and non-energetic for the rest of the year. They're literally like the free space in bingo now. Like, if you're a Big Ten team, go ahead and just say, hey, yo, listen, we might not win a lot, but we got that one. Because it's literally going to be I'll start. I'll make a bet. I'll bet right now. Who going to score the most points against Northwestern this year? Listen, I'm setting the over under at 68.5. Over under 68.5, man.
Bro. Well, luckily for you, the over-under for this next game that they have is only 40. But, hey, yo, we could raise it, though. We could raise it.
Well, I'm saying as far as, like, the point score, most points scored, over under 68.5. Somebody going to put up 68 on them boys. Somebody going to do it.
Who do you think it's going to be?
I have to look at the schedule, but somebody gonna do. Rutgers put up what 42?
I think so.
Yeah, somebody's gonna do it.
I'm not gonna lie, I did not watch the Rutgers Northwestern game, bro. Bro, yeah, I did not watch the Big Ten Toilet Bowl. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Let me pull up the score there, man. He's about
I'm
the Big
sorry.
Ten Toilet Bowl.
That's what it's gonna be, bro. Rutgers is gonna be last place in the East, and Northwestern is gonna be last place in the West.
Well, I thought they put up 42 points. It was 24.
It was like 24-0. Yeah.
It felt like 42. it felt like 42. No cap. It felt like 42. I ain't gonna lie to you. But yeah, I could pull up Northwestern schedule right now, man.
Hey yo, that's
Matter of fact, I'm gonna move the over under the 56.5 because it is the Big Ten West.
Okay. He said 56.5. That's still really high, bro, for the Big Ten West.
It happens. All right, so they got UTEP this weekend. Then they got Duke. They got Duke, Minnesota. Oh, Penn State. They got Penn State September 30th. That's it right there.
Yeah, Penn State's probably gonna put up a 50 ball on Northwestern for sure.
Maryland too. Maryland might put up a lot of points as well. And they play Howard October 7th. I might take Howard.
Shout out to Howard though. Shout out to Howard. Shout out to the HBCUs. That's crazy, bro.
Like I might take Howard.
That's crazy.
So you want to get into these over unders, these spreads?
Yeah, so I only got 3 games this week that I'm really looking at particular. First off, obviously we got Texas, Alabama. They got Alabama favored by 7.5. The over under is 54.5. And then just a fun fact: so Alabama has gone 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 September games. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I'll just say who I have, what I'm taking.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I got Texas to cover. I don't think Alabama is 7.5 points better than Texas. Quinn Ewers, I like him at quarterback. Xavier Worthy's back. A.D. Mitchell's there now. I believe in Sark. I definitely take Texas to cover. To cover.
All right. I'm going to take Texas to cover, but not to win. I think Bama's going to win by 3 points. I think it's going to be a close game. I think if Jalen Milroe goes crazy, I think Texas is in for a long day. Although I'm really curious to see if Alabama can stop Xavier Worthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got a pretty young defense. Not a lot of guys coming back from last year. But I still think they'll get the job done because it's in Tuscaloosa, and that's a hard place to play.
I'm with you.
All right. Next, I got Colorado, Nebraska. So, Colorado's favored by 3, and the over/under is 59.5. What you thinking?
I'll take the under on 59.5. Because Nebraska's not going to score that much. And also take Nebraska to cover and win because I do have the Huskers going into Boulder, Colorado and getting the dub.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm taking Colorado easily. It's probably going to be like, I'm taking them by like 45-24. It's not going to be close. Colorado's going to force Nebraska to throw the ball, and that's where it's just going to go downhill from there. Yeah, look for, obviously the big play threats from Travis Hunter, Shadir Sanders. Colorado with the win, baby. Prime time. Pac-12 football. Oh, yeah, and the Pac-12 is going to go undefeated again this week. Let's go, baby. Last game I got, this is an interesting one. Go ahead. This is an interesting one. We got Ole Miss at Tulane. So I got Ole Miss favored by 7 points, and the over under is about 65 and a half. If this were a year ago, I would have loved this matchup. Like I would have definitely taken Tulane to beat Ole Miss. Um, but yeah, Tulane lost a lot of guys on defense, bulk of their defensive production, and Jackson Dart is just a nightmare on the ground and through the air. So I got Ole Miss easily covering this game. I got them winning 54-21. Shout out to Tulane for all they've done, but yeah, it's not close.
Michael Pratt is back in Tulane. I like Michael Pratt. He's a really good quarterback. But I'm with the Lane train. I got Ole Miss winning this game. Of course, they're gonna cover. I got my score 48-24. Ole Miss is too explosive, too much offense. Quinshawn Judkins, Jackson Dart. I'm with the Lane train, man. Let's go.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Oh, there was one game I wanted you to pick because I think this game could be very interesting in terms of how the trajectory of these two team seasons could go. There is the Texas A&M and Miami game. Now, Miami looked very dominant in their first game, so did Texas A&M. So, what are your predictions?
All right. I think A&M is gonna win this game. I do. I do. Cristobal, good recruiter, not a good coach. I know we talk a lot about Jimbo. I think Jimbo is. I think he knows he has to get it done, and he has to win this game in order to get done what he needs to get done. I'm sorry for the non-in-depth analysis. It's just a feeling, and I feel like Texas A&M is going to win this game, and I don't think it's going to be close. I think Miami will get embarrassed, and Twitter's going to be a shitstorm.
Oh, oh shit. Oh shit. Okay. Oh, excuse my language. Okay. Okay. Uh, I really do want to pick Texas A&M to win this game, but man, a part of me just feels like this might be the beginning of the end for Jimbo. Like I
You
feel
always
like,
want it to be the beginning of the end for somebody. It's
but
so
I think,
negative.
I don't think the beginning of the end starts this week though. I think Jimbo gets to win easily. I think they keep it within 14 points, but I think Texas A&M gets to win.
Gig 'em.
Yeah, that's it for our
Gig 'em.
weekly pick 'em.
All right, let's
Uh,
what I want to do really quick. Let's run through that again, rapid fire. You say the game spread, and then you say who you got, and I'll say who I got without the in depth type joint, just because I want to put it up on the TikTok.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me make sure I got my notes up so I remember what I said. you know,
Yeah, you could just be like, yo, Alabama Texas spread is 7.5. I got Bama taking the points, boom, and then I'll say I got Texas, blah blah blah, boom, and
all
then we
right,
just
bet.
yeah.
All right, bet. All right, I'm ready. All right, we got so for the big game of the week, we got Texas number 11, Alabama number 3. Alabama favored by 7.5 points. Over under 54.5. Who do you got?
I got Texas covering. Bama's gonna win, but I think it'll be in a 4 point game.
All right, all right. I got Texas covering and a 3 point loss, 24-21. All right, next we got our pretty big games. So we got Nebraska versus number 22 Colorado. Colorado's favored by 3. The over under is 59.5. Who you got?
I got Nebraska winning, so Nebraska covering. I also have the under on that 59.5. I think the score would be Nebraska 24, Colorado 20.
Bet. Okay, I got Colorado covering as well. I think I'm going to take the over, and I think it's going to be 45-24 Colorado. All right, and then last we got number 20 Ole Miss versus number 24 Tulane. The Rebels favored by 7 points, and the total over under is going to be 65.5. Who you got?
I got Ole Miss covering. That game is not going to be close. I'm riding with the Lane train, and I got it 45-19.
Gotcha. Yep, I got Ole Miss covering. I got the over, so I got the over on the 65.5, and I got Ole Miss 51-24.
All right, and there you have it. Picks of the week, points bet spread. It's not sponsored by anybody, but tune in.
Hey, now can we give out some player awards from last week? Can we do that real quick?
Catch me off guard, but hey, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
All right, my first player award, I got T.J. Finley, of course. You know, in the upset against Baylor for Texas State, 298 yards, 3 TDs. I also got, in a losing effort, I got Clayton Isbell from Coastal Carolina, one of the many South Carolina teams that lost last weekend. He had 3 picks against UCLA. Of course, we got to highlight Shadir Sanders, 510 yards, 4 TDs, and a winning effort. My last guy that I got 2 more. I got Keon Coleman from Florida State, 9 receiving yards, Jesus Christ. 9 receptions, 122 receiving yards, 3 TDs. Travis Hunter from Colorado. I can't even call out all his stats. Like, he fills up the whole stat sheet. And lastly, for my player of the week, in his first start for Penn State, I got my boy. The Drew Aller era has begun. 3 TDs, 325 yards in his first start. It's Penn State QB and a win against West Virginia. Great game. Yeah, they got to clean up some field goal issues, though. They missed a lot of field goals that game. They missed a lot of field goals that game.
Now I just want to know, you putting me in a tight spot because you didn't tell me that we were going to do this. So I'm really unprepared. But I am going to go ahead and give you my players of week 1. Starting at number 1 from the University of Illinois, quarterback Luke Altmaier. In his first start against an FBS opponent, the transfer for Ole Miss, my boy Luke had 26 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, but he was overly efficient at 18 to 26, and he had the key throw on 4th and 4 to keep the drive alive and lead explosive playmaker as far as his stats. Get my imaginary helmet sticker. Shout out to my boy Luke, and he's going to clean up tomorrow against Kansas. Number 2, I got my guy, the guy I said that stood out the most to me in that Colorado TCU game, and that's true freshman Dylan Edwards from Colorado. Just give me one quick second because, like I said, I was not prepared for this. All right, so he had 6 carries, 24 yards, 1 touchdown, but he really did his damage in the receiving game. And yes, I'm reading off of ESPN.com right now. He had 5 receptions, 135 yards, and 3 tutties. So shout out to my boy Dylan Edwards, my imaginary helmet sticker. And last but not least, I'm gonna go with JJ McCarthy, quarterback at Michigan. They played against East Carolina. He was clean, and really efficient. 26 of 30, 86.7% of his passes he completed. 280 yards and 3 touchdowns in the big victory, runaway victory against East Carolina. So shout out to JJ, helmet sticker. Bye. Hey man, don't put me on the spot like that again, man. Don't put me on the spot like that again.
Let's go. Hey, yo,
I said we was gonna highlight some key players. I thought that made a conversation. Yeah, hey, bro had a good game type thing, you know. Like I didn't know we was gonna like roll it out. I didn't know we was gonna like roll it out like that, you know. So like I don't know.
My fault. My fault, bro.
Yeah,
my
hey
fault,
man,
my
listen.
fault. Maybe I was a little overly prepared.
Preparation matters. Curbs.
Preparation is key to greatness. Shout out to Kirby Smart.
If you have nothing else, I have nothing else. It is a Thursday night. I will want to tell the people I will be in Lawrence, Kansas tomorrow checking out the Illinois versus Kansas game. I heard it's a sellout. Kansas got new uniforms. I'm excited to see that. Y'all know I'm riding with my boys, Illinois. I'm going to have me a couple of adult beverages, turn up a little bit, and enjoy that. That game is on ESPN2. I do have good seats, so if you watch the game, look for the boy.
ESPN2?
And funny enough, I will have on a Buckeye shirt because, like I told you, I could not find any Illinois gear here in Kansas. And I waited to the last minute to try to order me an Illinois shirt. So I had to ride with the Big Ten, and I was not going to wear an Iowa shirt, and I wasn't paying $100-something for a Tom Brady jersey. So I got a Buckeyes t-shirt because I do like the Buckeyes. Shaw Ryan Day is my guy.
I feel that. I feel that.
Hey, listen, man. Listen. I like the
that's
Buckeyes.
weird,
I gotta do what I gotta do,
that.
man. I'm gonna just
feel
keep it in the
that.
Big Ten family, man.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yep. With that being said, man, this has been another
You gotta
episode of a
support
show
the Big
about
Ten while you
football.
can.
I'm Camden Mars. That's Craig Jordan. Follow us on social media. I'm at Twitter at Camden Mars, and then at TikTok at 80milcam. Tell them yours.
And I'm at JTJumps23 on Instagram and
With that being said,
TikTok
have a great
as
night.
well,
We
and
out.
on Twitter as well. You can follow me.
Hey, man, don't put me on the spot like that again, bro.